Well, I'm here now with Kristy Rutland because so many of us this time of year, we are just anxious to start planting that vegetable garden. And this year, Kristy, I love it because we can get the stuff in the ground sooner than normal.
Yes, we can. Weather has been unseasonably warm very early. I wanted to talk about vegetables today because, you know, the greatest tasting vegetables are the ones you pull out of your garden.
Isn't that the truth?
I can remember...
Tomatoes especially.
Yes, especially tomatoes. I can remember as a kid, Mom spending countless hours tending to her tomatoes and okra and cucumbers, and I remember how great those homemade cucumbers tasted later. So.
Well, the okra's funny because we had a story about that one year. We kept pulling out okra, and you have to pull them out when they're small for them to taste like anything. But I mean, the more you pull, the faster it grows.
Yes, so very much so.
It's prolific.
And I'm hoping this year maybe okra will be it'll be a good year for it with this early warmth. You know, they like it toasty, so let's hope so.
Well, so I see you've got some soil here. Tell us why that's important.
You know, it's like building a house. You want to start with a good foundation. So what I highly recommend in our Oklahoma clay is to get lots of organic material in there. Back to Earth is a good one to start with. It's composted cotton burrs, and it'll help break up some of that clayiness and add nutrients in while it's at it. You can also go with Humor, which is a little bit more composted down. So, you know, that's kind of a good, if you've already kind of got some amendment and you need to re-amend a little bit, you can go with some of that.
And most of us in this part of the state have clay soils, but not everybody. So but these are good for soils that aren't clay as well,
right? Yes, absolutely. Sandy soil, it's great because you're adding nutrients back into the soil. Even sandy soil, it's nice and loose, and you know they like to be well drained, but they also want that nutrients. So that'll help. You know, it's a good start for the plants.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's all about planning and figuring out what you want, what you like, the space the space you have available versus everything else.
That's my problem. See, because I want to cram them all in together, and that's not. I want to put as many tomatoes as possible, but that's not the best.
Not necessarily. You know, you kind of. One good thing, I was online and looking, Oklahoma State University does a lot of fact sheets, and they have a great one on planning and preparing your vegetable garden. And in that fact sheet, they have a chart that gives you like when to plant, how many plants you should plant per person in your household. So, you know, like how many tomato plants you should plant based upon how many people you have in your household, which will help because that's the other thing is you plant too many and then at the end of the season you're stuck with all these vegetables. What do you do with them?
Oh darn, that's a tough thing.
Darn, give them away, can them.
Well, last year was just horrible for tomatoes because we got so hot so early and the plants wouldn't set fruit.
Right.
And they wouldn't blossom. And so now hopefully this year it'll be a little bit more temperate.
And we kind of we're trying to help offset some of that. We grew a lot larger tomatoes this year. We went into a gallon-sized pot so you can get a little bit of a jump start. At this point, I don't think it's going to be necessary, but the other thing you can do, say, for next year is we have this little contraption here. It's called a season starter. You can plant your tomato. I'm going to demonstrate. Grab your tomato, plant it in the ground. You take this little contraption, you fill it part of the way with water, and then you set it over the top. Thank you. Just, well, like that.
Okay.
Of course, this one's a little bit bigger than our contraption, but then you finish filling it with water, and the concept behind it is it creates a little greenhouse for it. So you fill it the rest of the way up, and then what happens is once you get these little outside tubes filled, is it'll kind of collapse in on itself and create that little greenhouse.
It just moderates the temperature.
Yeah, keeps them warm that way on those cooler nights. So you can actually start a little bit earlier with your tomatoes.
With your tomatoes, some people have different old wives' tales and things they do to plant tomatoes. Do you have any?
One big thing that I like to do is when I plant my tomatoes, I plant them about halfway up the stem. They will put on extra roots. It'll give them extra stability, especially in our tough Oklahoma wind.
Okay.
Definitely.
So don't plant them at soil grade, just plant them down
Unlike
below.
other things, you know, you can dig and plant about halfway up the stem and you'll be good.
Good, okay.
The other thing about tomatoes, There's 3 different kinds of tomatoes that we carry. We carry the heirlooms, which are the ones that taste wonderful, but they don't have a lot of the disease resistances. We carry hybrids, which have a lot of disease resistances. Still taste good, maybe not as good as those old-fashioned heirlooms, but they still taste good. And then we have like our cherry and grape style tomatoes, which are usually tiny. Usually the more letters, the better is kind of the rule of thumb there. If you do have a lot of problems with tomatoes, if you get those hybrid tomatoes, the more letters they have, the more resistances they have. So if you have problems, that would be good.
Well, show us quickly then some of the other things that
I also
herbs?
highly believe that you should always have some herbs in with your tomatoes. Do some rosemary. We've got some oreganos and some thyme over on the other side, and basil, things that taste really great with your tomatoes. You can go out there and harvest that when you're harvesting your tomatoes and make a really great salad.
Well, and the oregano will come back.
Yes, oregano will come back. Thyme a lot of times will come back.
Rosemary?
Rosemary is evergreen actually, so it will come back. Your basil, if you don't disturb where you have your basil planted, sometimes it'll start sprouting up the next year.
Okay.
So a lot of times you can get repeats on that.
I love that.
The other big thing that we do are peppers. Bell peppers are the examples I have here. California Wonder is that great big green one. And then we've got a Blushing Beauty, which is a yellow or an orange type of bell pepper. And then we have Big Red in here somewhere. Big Red, which is a large red bell pepper.
And you recommend using the TLC plant food as well?
Definitely. Feeding is a good thing. You know, they're trying to produce fruit and they're going to expend a lot of energy. So if you can feed them, that would be good.
All right. Well, give us a lot to think about. And so how far apart to plant? Look at that OSU extension sheet. That'll tell you.
And come in and talk to us. Figure out what you want to grow. Come talk to us about it, and we can guide you in the right direction on all the different vegetables you want to grow.
Years of experience right here at TLC. Thank you, Kristy.
Thank you.